Imagine being arrested for chewing gum, fined for forgetting to walk your dog, or banned from wearing high heels to historic sites. Sounds like something out of a dystopian novel, right? Wrong. These are real laws in real countries, enforced by real governments, and breaking them can land you in serious trouble. From Singapore's war on gum to Switzerland's strict pet ownership rules, some nations have regulations so bizarre, so specific, and so unexpected that they'll make you question everything you thought you knew about freedom and common sense. But here's the thing. These aren't just quirky footnotes in legal textbooks. These laws shape entire societies, influence tourism, and reveal fascinating insights into different cultures' values and priorities. So buckle up, because we're about to take a journey through some of the most mind-bending, jaw-dropping, and downright insane rules that countries around the world actually enforce. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never look at international travel the same way again. Singapore, the fine city where everything costs you. Let's start with Singapore, a country so obsessed with order and cleanliness that locals joke it should be called the fine city. And they're not talking about the weather. This Southeast Asian nation has turned rulemaking into an art form, with penalties so specific they'll make your head spin. First up, chewing gum. Not just littering with gum, actually chewing it. In 1992, Singapore banned the import, sale, and consumption of chewing gum entirely. Why? Because people were sticking it on subway doors, causing delays, and costing the government millions in cleanup. The penalty? Up to $1,000 in fines for first-time offenders, and if you're caught selling gum, you could face up to 2 years in prison. But wait, there's more. Forget to flush a public toilet? That's a $150 fine. Eating or drinking on public transport? Another $500 gone from your wallet. And here's where it gets really wild. Feeding pigeons will cost you $500, because apparently the government considers it a public nuisance that creates mess and attracts pests. The most bizarre part? Singapore has toilet police who actually check public restrooms to ensure people are flushing. They've installed sensors in some facilities that detect when someone leaves without flushing, triggering an alarm. It sounds like something from a comedy sketch, but for Singapore, it's just Tuesday. Even jaywalking gets the full treatment. Cross the street at the wrong spot, and you're looking at a $200 fine for first-time offenders, with repeat violations potentially leading to community service. The country has created a culture where following rules isn't just expected, it's enforced with mathematical precision. But here's what's fascinating. It works. Singapore consistently ranks as one of the world's cleanest, safest, and most efficient cities. Their economy thrives, crime rates are minimal, and public spaces are pristine. The question is, at what cost to personal freedom? Switzerland, where your goldfish need friends. If you think Singapore is strict, wait until you hear about Switzerland. This alpine nation doesn't just regulate human behavior. They've extended their rulemaking to pets, and the results are both heartwarming and absolutely insane. In Switzerland, it's illegal to own just one goldfish. The reasoning? Goldfish are social creatures, and keeping them alone constitutes animal cruelty. The same rule applies to guinea pigs, parrots, and other social animals. If your goldfish dies, you can't just replace it. You must buy 2 new ones or find another goldfish owner willing to adopt your surviving pet. But the pet regulations don't stop there. Dog owners are required by law to take a course on proper pet care before getting their first dog. The course covers everything from feeding schedules to exercise requirements, and failing to complete it can result in hefty fines. Some cantons even require dog owners to have insurance for their pets. And here's where it gets really specific. In many Swiss apartments, you can't flush the toilet after 10 p.m. if you're a man. The reason? Standing up to urinate is considered too noisy for neighbors. This rule is so common that many apartment leases specifically mention it, and violating quiet hours can result in eviction. Switzerland also has some of the world's strictest noise ordinances. Mowing your lawn on Sunday? That's a fine. Running your washing machine after 10 p.m.? Another fine. Playing music too loud? You guessed it, fine. The country has created a culture where silence is literally golden, and disrupting it comes with real consequences. The parking regulations are equally intense. In some Swiss cities, you can't park your car in the same spot for more than 24 hours without moving it, even if you're paying for the space. The idea is to prevent long-term parking in public areas, but it means residents constantly play a game of musical chairs with their vehicles. North Korea, where haircuts are government policy. Now let's venture into truly authoritarian territory with North Korea, where the government doesn't just control politics and economics, they control how you look. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea has regulations so invasive and specific that they make other countries' rules look like gentle suggestions. Hair is serious business in North Korea. Men are required to choose from 15 government-approved hairstyles, while women get 18 options. The styles are displayed in barbershops like a government-issued menu, and straying from these approved cuts can result in public shaming or worse. The most popular male style? A modest cut that's shorter than 2 inches, because longer hair is considered a sign of capitalist decadence. But it's not just about hair. North Korea has banned skinny jeans, calling them a symbol of Western corruption. The same goes for certain hairstyles that are deemed too Western or capitalist. Fashion police actually patrol the streets, and wearing the wrong clothes can land you in a re-education camp. The country has also banned sarcasm. Yes, you read that right. Being sarcastic about the government or its policies is considered a form of dissent punishable by imprisonment. Citizens are encouraged to report sarcastic comments to authorities, creating a culture where humor itself becomes dangerous. Even more surreal, North Korea has banned the name Kim for newborns because it's reserved for the ruling family. Parents who try to name their children Kim face legal consequences, and existing citizens named Kim, who aren't related to the ruling family, have been pressured to change their names. The internet restrictions are equally extreme. Only a few thousand people in the entire country have access to the global internet, and they're all government officials or approved researchers. Everyone else gets access to Kwangmyong, North Korea's internal network that contains only government-approved content. Saudi Arabia, where gender shapes every rule. Saudi Arabia has undergone massive social reforms in recent years, but the country still maintains some of the world's most gender-specific regulations. Until recently, women couldn't drive, attend sporting events, or travel without male permission. And while many of these restrictions have been lifted, the legal framework reveals just how deeply gender can be embedded in national law. The kingdom still operates under a male guardianship system, where women need permission from a male guardian for certain activities. While this has been significantly reformed, it still applies to some situations, creating a complex legal landscape where gender determines legal capacity. Public behavior is still heavily regulated. Public displays of affection between unmarried couples can result in imprisonment, and the religious police still patrol public spaces to ensure compliance with dress codes and behavioral norms. The country has specific rules about men and women interacting in public, with violations potentially leading to arrest. The dress code extends beyond the famous requirement for women to wear abayas, which has been relaxed. Men are also subject to specific clothing requirements in certain contexts, and both genders must follow strict guidelines about appropriate attire in public spaces. Perhaps most unusual, the country has specific rules about entertainment and music. Until recently, movie theaters were banned entirely, and live music performances were heavily restricted. The rules were so specific that they included regulations about the types of instruments that could be played and the times when music was permitted. Japan, where politeness is law. Japan might seem like a modern liberal democracy, but the country has some surprisingly specific regulations that reflect its deep cultural values around social harmony and respect. These aren't just cultural expectations. They're often backed by legal consequences. The country has laws about bathing etiquette that extend beyond cultural norms. Public baths, onsen, have specific rules that are legally enforceable, including requirements about washing before entering pools and restrictions on people with tattoos. While these might seem like business policies, they're actually supported by local ordinances. Japan also has specific regulations about trash disposal that would make other countries' recycling programs look simple. In many Japanese cities, residents must separate garbage into more than 10 different categories, each collected on specific days. Getting it wrong can result in fines, and some cities have trash inspectors who check bags for compliance. The country has peculiar rules about noise as well. In many areas, it's illegal to wear high heels after 10 p.m. in apartment buildings because the clicking sound disturbs neighbors. Some apartment leases specifically prohibit high heels during certain hours, and violations can lead to eviction. Even more interesting, Japan has laws about public behavior that criminalize certain forms of rudeness. Cutting in line, for example, can result in legal consequences in some contexts, and there are specific regulations about behavior on public transportation that go beyond simple courtesy. Italy, where history trumps comfort. Italy's relationship with its historical heritage has created some of the world's most specific and unusual regulations. The country doesn't just preserve its past, it actively regulates how people interact with it, sometimes to bizarre extremes. In Rome, it's illegal to eat or drink while sitting on the Spanish steps. The fine? Up to €400, and police actively patrol the area to catch violators. The rule exists to preserve the historic stairs, but it means tourists can't even sip water while resting on one of the city's most famous landmarks. Venice has taken things even further. The city has banned large cruise ships from entering the historic center, but it's also banned sitting in certain public squares. St. Mark's Square, for example, has specific areas where sitting on the ground is prohibited, with fines up to €200 for violations. Italy also has regulations about historical accuracy in tourism. Tour guides must be licensed and are required to provide historically accurate information. Spreading false historical information during tours can result in fines and loss of licensing. The country takes its history so seriously that even casual storytelling about historical sites is regulated. The most unusual rule? In some Italian cities, it's illegal to build sandcastles on beaches. The reasoning is that they interfere with other beachgoers and can damage the sand ecosystem. Breaking this rule can result in fines up to €1,000, turning a childhood activity into a potential legal nightmare. Germany, where quiet is sacred. Germany's approach to noise regulation makes Switzerland look permissive. The country has elevated Ruhezeit, quiet time, to an art form, with regulations so specific they'll make you whisper just thinking about them. Sunday is legally designated as a day of rest in Germany, and this isn't just a cultural suggestion, it's enforced by law. Mowing lawns, drilling, hammering, or any loud household work is prohibited on Sundays and public holidays. The fines can reach €50,000 for businesses and €5,000 for individuals. But it gets more specific. In many German cities, there are Mittagsruhe, midday quiet periods, from 12 to 2 p.m., when loud activities are prohibited. This means you can't vacuum, play loud music, or even have loud conversations in your own home during these hours. The country also has specific rules about car washing. In many areas, you can't wash your car in your own driveway because the soap and chemicals might harm the environment. You must use designated car wash facilities, and violating this rule can result in fines up to €80. Perhaps most German of all, the country has regulations about how you can display your own flag. Flying the German flag outside of official occasions requires specific permits in some areas, and the flag must be displayed according to exact specifications regarding size, placement, and condition. The global picture: what these rules really mean. What's fascinating about these seemingly insane rules is what they reveal about different societies' values and priorities. Singapore's obsession with cleanliness reflects a culture that values order and efficiency above individual expression. Switzerland's pet friendship laws show a society that extends its concepts of rights and welfare to animals. North Korea's appearance regulations demonstrate how authoritarian control can penetrate the most personal aspects of life. These rules aren't just bureaucratic quirks, they're windows into different ways of organizing society. They show us how cultures balance individual freedom with collective welfare, how governments define their role in citizens' lives, and how historical experiences shape contemporary regulations. The economic impact is real too. Singapore's strict rules have helped create one of the world's most efficient business environments. Switzerland's regulations contribute to its reputation for precision and quality. Even seemingly oppressive rules can serve economic purposes, attracting certain types of tourism or business investment. But these rules also create real challenges. They can limit personal freedom, create barriers for immigrants and visitors, and sometimes prioritize order over innovation. The question each society faces is where to draw the line between necessary regulation and excessive control, the future of global rules. As the world becomes more connected, these unique national regulations face new pressures. Global travel, international business, and cultural exchange all challenge countries to balance their distinctive rules with international norms. Some countries are relaxing their most unusual regulations. Saudi Arabia has dramatically reformed its social laws. Singapore has created exceptions for certain products. And even North Korea has made minor adjustments to some policies. But others are doubling down, creating even more specific rules as their societies evolve. The rise of social media has also changed how these rules are enforced and perceived. Viral videos of tourists breaking obscure laws can create international incidents, while social media campaigns can pressure governments to reform outdated regulations. Climate change is adding another layer of complexity. Countries are creating new environmental regulations that might seem strange to outsiders, but address real ecological threats. Beach access rules, water usage restrictions, and wildlife protection laws are becoming more common and more specific. Technology is also driving new types of regulations. Countries are grappling with how to regulate social media, artificial intelligence, and digital privacy, sometimes creating rules that seem bizarre to other nations, but reflect different cultural values around technology and society. Conclusion: the beautiful madness of human governance. The world's most unusual laws remind us that there's no single way to organize human society. What seems insane to one culture makes perfect sense to another. These regulations reflect different histories, values, and priorities, and they show us the incredible diversity of human approaches to governance. Whether it's Singapore's chewing gum ban, Switzerland's goldfish friendship requirements, or Italy's Spanish step sitting prohibition, these rules tell stories about the societies that created them. They might seem crazy, but they're also fascinating glimpses into how different cultures balance freedom, order, tradition, and progress. The next time you travel internationally, remember that you're not just visiting a different place. You're entering a different system of rules that reflects a different way of thinking about society itself. And who knows, you might just discover that some of these insane rules actually make more sense than you thought. After all, in a world where you can be fined for not flushing a toilet or arrested for being sarcastic, perhaps the most insane thing of all is how normal it all becomes once you understand the logic behind it. The beautiful madness of human governance continues to surprise, challenge, and occasionally amuse us. And that's exactly what makes our world so wonderfully complex.